everybody. Wow. Yesterday, I talked about some kids on an airplane that still give me nightmares. And that is a perfect segue into our next guest, who would whip those kids into shape in no time. Here to talk about kids etiquette is one of our favorites, Julie Frantz from the St. Paul Hotel, everybody.
Good morning.
We have a lot to get to, but I always like to start with a compliment. We get such a great response from you, and I want to say, not only because you give great information, but I think people are just yearning for just good old-fashioned, a return to good old-fashioned manners, don't you?
I agree. I agree, yes. You know,
because there's a severe lack of it right now.
There certainly is, and that's why I think I'll always have a job, because you're right. You know, we just need to keep reminding people this is how we should behave.
Yeah.
But I want to say, welcome back from Hawaii.
Thank you.
It looked like a wonderful trip.
It was.
I enjoyed the pictures, I saw the food, I saw the drinks, and now it makes me want to go to Hawaii. I've never been there.
It's fabulous. Yeah. Okay, let's talk about going places, trips, and such.
Sure.
Preparing kids and grandkids to be guests at others' homes.
Right. Very important. And the most important thing is, you know, relay your expectations. And what I would tell kids is, first of all, when you get to the door, you stand up straight, you look them in the eye, you introduce yourself. Let the child bring the hostess gift. When they step in, children should always wipe off their shoes, adults too, but then children should say, would you like me to remove my shoes? If they're doing an overnight guest, don't come in and just sprawl everything all over, but say, where would you like me to put my things? During the entire stay, they don't ever take, they don't snoop, they don't assume, but they should always ask their host, is it okay to do this? I need some shampoo. But that's another thing. My husband and I have had out-of-town guests forever, and we love it. But it's very helpful when people bring their own supplies so that you're not having to supply shampoo, deodorant, everything else in addition to trying to feed them. So I think it's just relaying the expectations, that they have an attitude of gratitude while they're there, and that, again, they just offer to help up, and they keep their things neat together, and they're just a delight to have.
What if you're staying overnight? You're staying overnight at someone's house, whether you're a kid or not. What do you do with the linens afterwards? You sleep in the bed. What do you offer? What's the proper thing to do?
The right thing to do, of course, is to say to the hostess, what would you like me to do with the bed linens?
Yeah.
And if she says, oh, don't worry about it, leave it, your goal is to leave that room nice and neat. So you would take the sheets off, pull the comforter up, and then just leave those sheets at the foot of the bed. Don't take a bunch of laundry, meander around the house, go downstairs, try to figure out, you know, where to go. Just leave them at the foot of the bed.
What is the perfect, you know, the saying is like, guests are like fish. After a few days, they start to smell. What is the perfect amount of time for you to stay at someone's house?
You just said it. After 3 days, both fish and company stink. Yes. And again, I can relate it back. I mean, do you have a lot of house guests that stay numerous nights?
Yeah, I enjoy it. And I just stayed at my friend Haley's house for like 5 days, but I asked in advance.
Right.
And we only see each other like once or twice a year.
So it definitely depends on the relationship. But I know as a hostess that after 2 nights and 3 days, I've been cooking, entertaining you, and I'm kind of tuckered out now, and I'm ready to say bye-bye.
Yeah. So what is a proper way, what should I be sending Haley right now? What's a proper way to thank a host?
Well, first of all, you were in her place,
yeah,
and so you should have a pretty good feel for, does she like to cook, does she like wine, and then have something sent to her as a hostess thank you gift. So you can either arrive with a gift, and then if you want to wait and kind of see what their decor is or whatever, you can send one later. It's certainly appropriate.
Now, how do you deal, now you described the perfect child, you know, coming in and wiping their feet. How do you deal with an unruly child in your home?
Okay, you need to have a plan, P-L-A-N. The P stands for put away anything that is extremely valuable to you. Like I have a beautiful china set, and trust me if I have little ones coming over, because accidents happen.
Yeah.
So first of all, put away anything that is really important to you. The L stands for lay out an area for that child where they can play, eat, create. I try to go buy some little toys for them or whatever that will be new, but an area for them. The A is for you act as the cruise director. You set the rules, you tell them what's acceptable, you tell them what they can do, what they can't do, and then the N is for never criticize, but you say things like, Susie, we don't run in this house. Tommy, we don't eat with cookies and run all over the house. We sit up to the table. And so you're constantly just kind of reminding what your rules are in your home. It's your home. And you should not have to spend a week cleaning up the debris from one little wild thing child that was in your home.
Well, there is... That's a perfect place to end right now. We do have to go. We have more with Julie in a minute, but I will say every time I do a segment with you about kids, I always get very thankful for my mother.
Yes.
And I say this a lot on the show. My mother raised me with a lot of values, and one of the most important ones, she always looked at me and said very bluntly, I never want adults to dread your presence.
Absolutely.
And so she raised me. When I was around grown-ups, so hearing about little demon children, I'm going to look in the camera right now and say, Mom, I am grateful for you.
Yes.
Let me say that, yeah.